Okay, slope. So our objective for this video is pretty simple. We want to calculate a line's slope. Okay, so what is slope? Simply put, slope is a measure of a line's steepness. Okay, it compares the vertical change, the rise or the fall, to the horizontal change, the run, when moving from left to right along a line. So we say that slope, and we talk about on a graph, slope is a change in the vertical, rise or fall, which is the y, over a change in the horizontal, and I always change horizontally to the right, so positive, which is a change in the x. So slope, a change in y over a change in x. And here's a line right here. As you'll notice, from left to right, this line is rising. And so the slope would be the change in y, which looks to be a positive 3, if this is counting by ones, divided by a change in the x, which looks to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this slope looks to be 3 over 5. All right, a couple of notes about slope in mathematics. In mathematics, the slope is often represented by the letter m. In addition, we don't write the word change. We often use the Greek symbol delta to represent change. So again, this is a delta symbol, and the word delta means change. So this is a quick way to write slope is equal to the change in y over the change in x. We always want to keep in mind that slope is a fraction. Okay, often we'll see it as a fraction because most slopes are fractions, but sometimes when you see it written as a whole number, like the slope is 5, we need to remember that that means the slope is 5 over 1. We can rewrite any integer as a fraction by simply putting it over the number 1. All right, so lines can have, let's shift this up a touch, lines can have positive slope, means they rise from left to right, and here's positive slope, slope greater than 0. Negative slope, they fall as you go from left to right, m less than 0. A 0 slope, well, a horizontal line has 0 slope. Okay, so y equals 2, y equals 1, y equals negative. These are all of your y equals. Okay, all of your 0 slopes are y equals. They're kind of a constant equation. And finally, an undefined slope. And these are your vertical lines. The slope is undefined because the denominator is 0 and dividing by 0 is undefined. And these are all of your x equals lines. X equals 1, x equals 2, x equals negative 1. Those are all equations, but they are equations of lines that have an undefined slope. So let's quickly do an example. This is not overly complicated. Let me shift a couple things out of my way here. Okay, find the slope of the line passing through negative 3, 4, and 2, negative 2. Okay, well, the slope is equal to the change in y over the change in x. Okay, well, we can change in y. You want to take the y coordinate of one of the 2 points and subtract the y coordinate of the other point, and you always need to go in the same direction. So if you choose this as your y and then subtract this, do the same thing with the x's. Start with this point to go that way. Okay, so change in y, negative 2. This is my this one minus this one, minus 4. That's the change in the y coordinates over change in the x. Well, it's 2 minus, and this is a negative. So I'm going to put that in parentheses because I don't want to lose track of that negative sign. And this tells me the slope here is negative 6 over 5. Or if you want to put the negative in front of the entire fraction, you can do that. Okay, so the slope is negative 6/5. but I'll place the negative with the numerator and say that we're going to go down 6 and run to the right 5. Let's graph this quickly and we can see the negative slope. Let's see, there's my X is my XY plane. I'm not going to be fancy here. Negative 3, 4 is someplace up here. Again, I'm not doing this to scale. I'm just putting this together so we can see it. Negative 2 is a quadrant 4 point, approximately there. And if we connect those 2 points with somewhat of a straight line, you can see here's the slope. It's negative, which we came up with, and we know we're going down 6, so this is down 6, and then we're going to run 5. So this slope is negative 6 over 5, which can also be written as negative 6/5. Probably the most important thing to keep in mind here, and I'll come back to this several times as we talk about slope. Whoops, let me split this up. Slope is a fraction. So whenever you're working with slope, you need to remember it's a fraction because there are times you'll need to write it over 1 so that you can work with it appropriately.